Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Commissioner Abe Layden, and I'd like to welcome you to our 67th Live Town Hall. We're joined tonight by several partners to share an update on the West Frontage Road between Plum Creek Parkway and Tomah Road in Castle Rock. I'd like to welcome and thank the Colorado Department of Transportation, the Colorado State Patrol, the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, the Town of Castle Rock, and Castle Rock Fire and Rescue for helping us provide this comprehensive update. We hope you'll stay tuned through the updates and get your questions in the queue. I'd like to welcome my colleague, Commissioner Teal, to tell you more.
Thank you, Commissioner Layden. Well, let me start by saying this. We are all heartbroken by the loss of life that has occurred in recent months on this road. On behalf of everyone on this panel and all of our organizations, I want to offer our condolences to the family and, well, us, the community. Thank you for reaching out with your concerns about this road. I appreciate everybody who contacted me personally, and I assure you, your concerns are being heard and we are listening. And we will keep talking about this. We're here tonight with every agency that has a role on this road to provide an update and take your questions. So you hear from our illustrious Castle Rock Mayor, Jason Gray. But first, we want to start getting questions in the queue. My colleague, Commissioner Thomas, will tell us how to do that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good evening, everyone. My name is Laura Thomas. I'm one of 3 Douglas County Commissioners. But before that, I had the honor and pleasure to spend 26 years with the Colorado State Patrol. And 7 of those years were spent right here in Douglas County as a state trooper. So I know this road well. It was a long time ago and there was a lot less traffic on it. But that's why I understand the need for the improvements that are going to be taking place soon. I also want to add my gratitude to all our partners for joining us tonight. We are all here for the same purpose, to work together on this issue. If you are joining us on the phone, you need to press *3 on your telephone keypad to ask a question. For those online, please submit your question and our moderator will read it out loud. For those of you with us in the room, raise your hand and our staff will bring you a 3x5 index card. Please write your question on the card and submit it to the back table where our moderator, Roger, will take it and then read your question out loud. Now, the reason we do that is we have found that when we walk around the audience with a microphone and let people talk, they give testimony and stories, and it goes for a long time, and that keeps the rest of you from being able to ask your question. So that's why we're using this format tonight, so we can get many more questions answered. We also have several other elected officials with us here tonight. First of all, it's my honor to introduce my good friend, Castle Rock Mayor Jason Gray. Mayor Gray?
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. On behalf of Castle Rock, I want to thank everybody for being here, but I also want to thank the commissioners for reaching out and asking us to join them tonight. Really fantastic of you guys. We appreciate being included. One of the things I first want to talk about is, the Crystal Valley interchange is our kind of Castle Rock's #1 priority for transportation. We hope to break ground on that in the next few months, and it's a 24-month build. Once that's complete, I think it'll improve safety and along the interstate I-25 at town limits by reducing congestion on Plum Creek Parkway interchange, and also construction of Dawson Trails Boulevard. A collaboration between the county and the town will replace the West Frontage Road and improve safety. We look forward to sharing more about the interchange and Dawson Trails projects, and as this goes on tonight. Thank you. And next up, I have it's my honor to introduce Sheriff Weekly.
Good evening, everybody. One of the first things that I did after becoming sheriff was realign staffing resources to put additional deputies in our traffic unit. Traffic safety is very important to me, and I want to ensure that we have enforcement out there on the street with more marked units specifically dedicated to traffic. We have several public safety partners here tonight. We have Castle Rock Fire Chief Norris Kroom, State Patrol Captain Michael Carr, and my traffic division commander, Sergeant Jeff Burke. With that, let's get started, Roger.
All right, thank you, Commissioners, Mayor Gray and Sheriff Weekly. Again, as a reminder, press *3 if you're listening on the telephone. You'll be directed to an operator who will take down some information and get you in line to ask your question. If you're watching and participating online, please enter your question in the viewer on your computer. And if you're here in the room, please submit your questions, or we may take some live. We'll see how it goes. We know you have lots of stories and testimony to share. Please, we invite you to always write your elected officials. And tonight we're going to take your questions about these important updates that we're going to hear now. And I'll turn it over to Commissioner Layden for those updates.
Thank you, Roger. So let's start with a bit of background. If you do have access to a computer, I invite you to visit douglas.co.us/town hall, where you will see a visual about some of the projects that we're going to be discussing tonight. So we're here tonight to address concerns we've been hearing about regarding the West Frontage Road. And I'd like to start by introducing Stephanie Alanis, CDOT's South Program Engineer. CDOT has the most immediate project occurring along the corridor. Stephanie?
Thank you. And I'd like to start and say that we don't take this lightly in any way, shape, or form. And what we are doing and have done, we will continue to evaluate. It is a process, and we will continue to always look to make roads safer and better. So what we have been done now and what we are currently doing, as some of you might be aware, is we are removing guardrail. We have taken a look at the project. We've taken a look at the project, and now that it is built, we've evaluated with different engineer reviews and the as-built, and we're removing about 11,000 linear feet of guardrail. 10,000 is currently removed, and we have 2,000 left to go. So we will have this done, hopefully weather pending, in the next week. With that, we have done speed studies. So we have lowered the speed limit, and then we will continue to look at options and enforcement to make things safer and better as we move forward. I'd like to hand this over to Commissioner Teal.
Thanks, Stephanie. We do very much appreciate you having you here tonight, and all the work that CDOT has done on this topic. In addition to the work Stephanie described, there's another project on the horizon for the West Frontage Road. Beginning this year is the relocation of the West Frontage Road, a partnership project between Douglas County and the town of Castle Rock. I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to Aaron Monks, one of the senior planners for transportation for the town of Castle Rock.
Hello. Aaron Monks, project manager for the Crystal Valley Interchange. The West Frontage Road will be relocated west of the railroad tracks. Will become Dawson Trails Boulevard from Crystal Valley Interchange down to the town limits. The time frame is start construction probably late spring to summer of this year. Probably take about 12 months to construct. And then I think that's kind of it for my portion. I'll turn it over to Art Griffith with the Douglas County.
Thanks, Aaron. So we're a little bit behind Aaron in the town's project. We think we'll be going to construction in the fall. We have a little more right-of-way acquisition to acquire for our segment, and we will be making improvements that include left turn lanes on Bear Dance and Tomah to connect with the new relocated frontage road, which we refer to as Dawson Trails Boulevard. And I just want to point out that the existing West I-25 frontage road will stay open through most of the interchange construction, and it will permanently stay open between Tomah and Skyview. So I just wanted to clarify that because I've heard questions around.
And the town's portion of Dawson Trails Boulevard that will become West Frontage Road, initial construction will be 2 lanes, 1 in each direction, plus additional pavement for like bike lanes and stuff from Crystal Valley down to the town limits and then tie into Douglas County's portion.
And I forgot that a lot of you haven't seen the graphic, so I'll just describe our section width in the county. We'll have 1 through lane in each direction a minimum of 4-foot shoulders on each side, and we'll have median turn lane that will serve accesses to the driveways of the parcels on the west of the relocated frontage road or further west of the railroad.
Now, Aaron, Aaron, you said that initially when that West Frontage Road is relocated west of the railroad tracks and it becomes Dawson Trails Boulevard, it's just going to remain the 2 lanes that we have currently on the frontage road. Is there any other work that's going to do to allow the expansion to 2 lanes in each direction eventually?
So the 2 lanes will be constructed as a town project to replace the existing West Frontage Road because the new on and off ramps for southbound I-25 will be in the location of the existing frontage road. So we'll construct the 2 lanes down to the town limits, and then as the development, Dawson Trails development continues to expand and grow, they will be required to widen it to 4 lanes. And that's the final configuration, is 4 lanes with sidewalks on both sides and bike lanes.
So initial construction for 2, plan for 4.
Correct.
All right. Well, thank you for clearing that up. Before I turn the call over to Commissioner Thomas, I just want to remind you to press *3 if you're joining us on the phone on your keypad if you would like to ask a question. You can also participate online and view a visual representation of what Aaron and Art just described at douglas.co.us/town hall. So let's take some more questions. Commissioner Thomas, can you take us into that?
Thank you, Commissioner Teal, and all of our panelists who've already spoken. We now are having some questions start to come in. So Roger, please take the first question.
Let's go to the phones and hear from Lynn first. Lynn, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. In our opinion, the root cause of the accident are a direct result of the extensive increased traffic over the last, say, 10 or 15 years that we've been around. What is Douglas County doing to curtail the amount of developments going on in the community to mitigate all this increased traffic going forward?
Well, I'll go ahead and just mention that, if a community is not growing, it is dying. And there are a lot of people who want to live here in Douglas County. So not only the commissioners in Douglas County, but the council people in Castle Rock have a comprehensive master plan that we work toward to manage the growth. And so growth is something that is here to stay. Thank you. And Roger, I think you have another question. Maybe this one is online.
Yes, let's take one from Douglas. He writes, what is the plan for doing maintenance to the frontage road? There are a number of spots where the edge of the road is completely gone and it's dangerous. If a car were to run off the road, it would roll over.
Stephanie, I think this sounds like it's yours.
Thank you. We continue to do maintenance. CDOT is responsible for maintenance of the frontage road from Tomah, Skyview, north to Plum Creek. As we work through with the winter months, we have maintenance crews and we will patch and work on pavement as necessary. So we are out there, and as schedule allows, we will continue to work on that.
Great. So, and I want to touch briefly on the growth issue. This is my 5th year as a Douglas County Commissioner, and I'm currently sitting as the chairman of the board. What we talk about when it comes to growth is ensuring that there's mobility. Usually from our citizens, there's less concern about growth as long as you can get around. And one of our conversations tonight is about managing transportation and ensuring that you're not stuck in traffic and that your roads aren't dangerous. The other piece is open space. You just passed a ballot measure to ensure that we have close to $300 million through 15 years, which is the life of that measure, for open space, parks, and historic resources. We've been able to preserve almost 50% of our county as open space. That also includes the Pike National Forest. But by us preserving land, that land can never be developed, ever. That will always remain for you, your families, and your grandchildren in perpetuity. So that's part of our process. Let's go to an online question. Looks like we have another phone question. Roger?
Let's hear from Jay next. Jay, go ahead.
There. And the frontage road is a main thoroughfare for most of us to get in and out of the area. I'm kind of curious, so once all these improvements are complete, what will limit? on the frontage road.
I think we had a break up there. Can the caller state the question?
I live in Larkspur, and the frontage road is a main thoroughfare for us to get back and forth, especially to Castle Rock. My question is, once all these road improvements are complete, what will be the speed limit on those roads with the bike paths on each side and the additional 2 lanes?
Art? Yeah, the section that's going to be in the county could be posted at 45 or 50 miles an hour. We're designing it for more than 50 miles an hour. And Aaron, I'll let you talk about your section.
The town section is the same way. It'll be posted at 45 eventually. Initially, it could be 50 when it's just a open road with no real side streets and stuff. Ultimate build out, there'll be several roundabouts tying into that and stuff where you have roads coming off of that and stuff. So that'll help manage speed along that section as well.
Okay, thank you for that. So Roger, it sounds like we have another online question.
We do. This was submitted by Lawrence. He asked, would it be possible to open Skyview Lane adjacent to the Jellystone campground to provide access to Bear Dance Drive? I believe this is still on the 2830 Douglas County Transportation Master Plan. The early opening might help relieve some traffic.
Thanks, Art.
Yeah, thanks. Just to clarify, the driveway that accesses the campground facility is a private driveway. So it only serves that and is not a public. So we do not have on our plan a connection directly west of Skyview.
Art, thank you for that. Commissioner Teal.
Thank you, Abe. Well, I'd like to go ahead and take it into the hearing room. Hey, Wendy, do I get a microphone I can use? Thank you, ma'am. Anybody with a question? Anybody with a comment? Well, sorry, Pete, but she's right here. Go ahead, please stand. Give us your name. Tell us where you're from.
I'm Jennifer Osagara. I live in Keene Ranch. Jennifer Osagara. I live in Keene Ranch, so I drive the frontage road many times every day.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
What will happen to the existing frontage road? Are they going to destroy it when the new, or will there be access to it still, or what will happen to it?
Yeah, Art, I know you and I have talked about that a bunch, but let's hear from CDOT since it's your road.
Okay, so from Crystal Valley north to Plum Creek, we will leave that. We'll need that for access, possibly for railroad. We'll need railroad access. It will be gated and won't allow public traffic through. So we want to make sure there's safety measures that won't confuse anybody, or we want to make sure we have safety covered. And then from Crystal Valley south, we will also be using it. I will explain, the ramps are going to end up going on up onto the frontage road, the new ramps for Crystal Valley. So there'll be kind of portions of that frontage road that'll be remain open for access for needed, gated access for what's needed.
Okay. Next question. No, Pete, I've known you for almost 8 years. I'm holding the microphone. Tell us who you are and where you're from.
My name is Pete Smith. I'm from Keene Ranch. I know Stephanie through several email exchanges. So first of all, thank you for removing the guardrail you've already done. I will note that the guardrail that is in the vicinity of where both of the fatal accidents happened has not been removed. We would encourage you to continue the guardrail removal. You already have separation between I-25 and the frontage road due to stuff that was done years ago to prevent traffic from getting off of I-25 and using the frontage road when I-25 was blocked. Okay, but my question for you tonight is, last night in a meeting with the developer, and I noticed Larry is here, he stated that the frontage road will be used by heavy construction trucks during the construction of the interchange, the new Dawson Trails Boulevard, and the Dawson Trails development. In that this road is already so dangerous right now, probably the most dangerous road in Douglas County, I suspect. What will the town, the state, and the county do to ameliorate the safety concerns of all of us with that road when you have huge, heavy construction traffic on it?
So, CDOT, you want to try to talk about what you'd like to do first? And then, Art, what are we going to do as the county to make sure we're helping out?
Thank you. We will be lowering speed limit and controlling access as we do work in that area. And then Art.
Yeah, we do need to build the interchange, and we can't lift it in with a helicopter. So we do have a lot of construction trucks anticipated to build the improvements. A lot of the dirt moving will occur, from the Dawson Trails development. So there'll be periodic closures during specific times when we have to set girders over the railroad and the existing West Frontage Road, as well as over I-25. So there will be closures and detour routes. For example, you would have to go down to Skyview and then come back up to Tomah Road during certain phases. So, Aaron, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, so during construction, there will be, inconveniences to get the bridge over I-25 and then over the BNSF Railroad. We do have to build, the superstructure and stuff. So there will be times when delays and little slight detours around the structures that are supporting the bridge eventually will be in place. So as Art mentioned, there is other ways to get to I-25 and get to Castle Rock rather than just north-south on that existing frontage road.
Now, I do want to, though, address Pete's question one more time before we move along to the next question. And I mean, CDOT, is there a plan to do any more, kind of increase the period of checking the road? Because with heavy construction equipment, we know it's an old piece of road. Is there any plan that you could implement to kind of capture if the road is deteriorating condition during the construction period, before we actually get the concrete hung and the interchange open? Is that something you guys can engage? Is that something you guys can do to kind of stay ahead of what that additional construction traffic could bring?
We will have heavy coordination with the contractor. The contractor will be responsible for managing, their trucks and the heavy equipment, as well as CDOT and the project team as we're under construction. Castle Rock and CDOT, as a partnership, will work together and make sure that we have continual inspections. Traffic control is, closely related to safety, and that is our number one priority at CDOT. And so we continue and do regular inspections, and we will do that on a regular basis in partnership with Castle Rock and the contractor.
Okay, one more question from here in the room. Sir, you had your hand up.
Yeah.
I say sir, even though I know this guy, and I am definitely not letting you hold the microphone since I've known you for around 30 years. But Wade, go ahead and tell us your full name and tell us where you're from.
Wade DeBerry, and I'm out in Twin Oaks. And I'm mostly concerned about Territorial Road, being that all that construction traffic that's going to do the Costco and everything else is going to be doing that one little teeny railroad crossing. And I really am afraid that if you don't address this, like having a detour railroad crossing or some other thing, we're going to have a lot of problems there, a lot of congestion. When you get traffic from just a regular train right now, you'll have a 5 to 10 car backup. So go ahead and add a couple concrete trucks and some dump trucks and, pickup trucks from construction workers and everything else. You're going to have a real problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Wade. Aaron, what is the town's plan for that? Because we know we're going to want to get to construction equipment up and over the railroad tracks at Territory Road. Can you give us an idea of what the initial plan is right now?
So initially, the truck traffic or construction traffic will follow the same as the residential and stuff. Will have to maintain that public crossing across the railroad tracks, and then the territorial will be detoured probably to the south and swing around and stuff. So there will be detours with that'll remain 2 lanes so that continue to have access and stuff. Once the West Frontage Road is relocated, Dawson Trails Boulevard, we'll be able to open that up, and then we'll be able to have construction traffic flow on that road, which will relieve the congestion there at Territorial a little bit until it is eventually shut down, because you can cross over I-25 on the bridge and get onto the east side and then go on to into town.
Thank you. And so we appreciate all of your questions so far. We still have about 40 minutes left. So if you are online, remember to press *3 on your keypad to get into the queue. And if you would like to participate online, you can visit douglas.co.us/town hall. We've all heard how local and state agencies are working together to improve conditions on the West Frontage Road. Now we need your help. For more on that, let's hear from the Colorado State Patrol, my favorite, although I like the Sheriff's Department too. Okay, we'll start with the State Patrol.
All right, good evening. So I'm the troop commander here for Castle Rock Troop. So I manage all the troopers within Douglas County, includes Arapahoe and the tollway as well. So my focus when I got here October, November last year, I've redirected the troopers. We are focusing on I-25 in Douglas County. That is our focus. That is the most dangerous portion of this county, and that includes the frontage road. What I'm going to ask, I guess, the public is to do your part. Traffic safety, obey the speed limits, put down the phones, don't drive distracted. If you see a traffic problem or you see something, call Star CSP. We do respond to those. We do take action on vehicles that you see driving recklessly or dangerously. So I'll be here afterwards. You have more to talk about, but I just want to make sure that you all are doing your part when it comes to being on the road, driving safe, put the phone down, and pay attention to the speed limits, please.
And next, we're going to hear from the Douglas County Sheriff's Office.
Just real quick, and I'll turn it over to Sergeant Burke here in a moment. One of my biggest concerns is coming up this summer, and that's the Renaissance Festival. And so before I even took office, I had already talked to Sergeant Burke about better planning for this year around the Renaissance Festival. I've been here for 29 years. I know what it looks like since the pandemic and the Renaissance reopening. It's gotten worse. Being here for 29 years, we're actually experts in getting people in and out of the Renaissance Festival. We only assign people to that festival working certain positions that know what they're doing. We don't have time for a deputy to learn the ropes. So we have been working with the Renaissance Festival, but I'm going to turn it over to Sergeant Burke, not only talk about the festival, but also just traffic operations for the Sheriff's Office.
Thank you, Sheriff. Sergeant Burke, I've been down here in Douglas County for 23 years now. I started as a state trooper here in the Castle Rock office, and I went over to the Sheriff's Office. I've been involved in traffic enforcement or investigation that entire time here in Douglas County. I, too, am very familiar with the Renaissance Festival, as the Sheriff said. I am also one of the ones that's selected to supervise that event every weekend. So I could typically kick off Saturday morning sitting down at the festival, making sure people get in and out of that rather quickly. And as the Sheriff said, I've been engaged with the vendor. I've been engaged with Jim Paradise since the end of last year. I've gotten the Douglas County Road and Bridge and engineering departments together with the town of Larkspur. We're working on trying to come up with some solutions to improve what traffic looks like around the Renaissance Festival during the months of June, July, and August. And I think we're making some good headway. We still got some work to be done in the next couple of months, but we're getting there. As far as traffic safety goes, I'll focus on the frontage road or the southern parts of I-25. Since I was assigned as the commander of the traffic unit here at Douglas County a year ago, I have dedicated to improving traffic safety throughout the county. One of the things I did was I partnered with the Colorado State Patrol. And I dedicate my team's abilities twice a month, every month, to just go out and work the highway with the Colorado State Patrol. Because the highway, including the frontage road, like the captain said, is a dangerous spot. They can't do it alone. We can't do it alone, but together we can try and make an impact. So my team is out there at least twice a month, every single month, trying to address the frontage road, the southern parts of I-25. And we've also started working on Highway 83 south of Franktown. I know that's not the focus of this meeting, but that's kind of where I am focused when it comes to partnering with state highway officials to improve traffic safety across the county.
Chief Norris Kroom, who I've known for many, many years.
Thank you, Commissioner. Norris Kroom, currently have the privilege of serving as the fire chief here in Castle Rock. I've been with the department for 36 years, and I've seen the growth that's occurred. Understand the challenges along the West Frontage Road, understand the challenges on the East Frontage Road, and certainly as we get south of town. We're not, unfortunately, as proactive as our partners to the left. We respond on the calls that occur, and whether it's a motor vehicle crash, a bicycle crash, everybody remembers the Elephant Rock, wildland fires along the railroad tracks. That's what we're here for. What I would ask from you all is that when you see us out there, and whether it's fire and rescue, whether it's state patrol, whether it's Douglas County, is just please understand that we're trying to get the situation resolved and get you moving back as soon as we can. Slow down and move over if you're on the interstate. If we're on the frontage road and we have it closed and we tell you it's closed, we can find alternate routes for you. In one of the incidents, I walked up to an individual and they're like, well, but no, I just need to go through there. And it's like, well, you can't. But we can turn around and get you back up to Plum Creek and get you back down the interstate to the Tomah exit and go from there. So just please be patient with us. We're trying to do the best job that we can. We understand you need to get to where you're going, and we're doing the best that we can to get you there as soon as we can and as safely as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Groom. Back to Mayor Gray.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Chief. Roger, we have questions online or on the phone?
We do. Let's hear from Alan first on the phone. Alan, go ahead. You're live.
Hi. I thank you for your participation today and for this meeting. First of all, I would like to ask why, after 15 years, we've been driving back and forth from Castle Rock to the Larkspur area. Why are they allowing bicyclists on that road going on the west side? Because there is absolutely no room for them. And at one point in time, there was a sign to have bicyclists on the west side road. That's my first question. My second question would be, why wouldn't we add 4 lanes on that new Dawson Creek Drive or whatever, instead of forcing us to go through construction 2 different times with 2 lanes, then to 4 lanes? It sounds like, why don't we just do what we're supposed to do on the way down now when we're spending the dollars in 2023 dollars instead of 2029 dollars or whatever it will be, that you add the second lanes to both ends? I think that is incredibly troublesome for us that live in the Perry Park, Larkspur area. It's just, it doesn't make sense. And then lastly, about the sheriff talking about the Renaissance question, or the situation for the Renaissance. We get a tremendous amount of traffic coming through Bear Dance and on Independence and down through other areas of the, if you will, hidden forest area and so on. We need to rectify that situation. It's changed dramatically, and they're coming through neighborhoods now instead of staying on the highway or going through a different area. So those are my 3 questions. Thank you for your answers.
I'd like to jump in on the why are we building for 2 even though we designed for 4 right away? And sir, I did see your gesture, which is fine. Yeah, exactly. It is money. And folks, I live in the Crystal Valley Ranch neighborhood of Castle Rock. So directly to the east of the frontage road and where this interchange is going to be. And our main thoroughfare into our neighborhood for the first 10 years I lived there was 2 lanes with plans for 4, okay? And we only had those first 2 lanes for the first 10 years I lived there. But here's where it gets funny, because when the developer of our neighborhood, working with the county, built the bridge over Plum Creek that spanned, that bridge was built for 4, even though we only had 2 lanes built. So yes, it is absolutely about money. There are metrics that I know we talked about a lot when I was on the Castle Rock Town Council that the town follows in terms of when the traffic gets to a certain point, then those 4 lanes get built out. And I want to say, Aaron, I might put you on the spot with this one, but we don't necessarily plan for it to be max congestion capacity before the town would build out those other 2 lanes. So you try to usually stay ahead of the power curve on that.
Yeah, I'm no expert on the DAs that are, done by the town and stuff on the traffic volumes that dictate when portions of road have to be widened and stuff through development. But there are thresholds. A safety factor that maybe not is real intuitive is if you build a big 4-lane road like that and just have it out there with nothing, no intersecting roads, no improvements along it, just big wide open road, it's going to be a big safety factor because people are going to drive much faster than they would with just a 2-lane road and stuff. So maybe it's not something that you would think about that, but there is that factor that it is quite dangerous to just have a big 2-lane, 4-lane road that's running through the middle of open field initially.
That does remind me of the stories we've always heard in Castle Rock back in the early 2000s when the Meadows Boulevard was built, the Meadows neighborhood. It was 2 lanes each way with 80% of the neighborhood not built out. It attracted drag racing, which I realize might be fun for some, but it did constitute a bit of a safety problem. It's something we've dealt with in more recent years in Crystal Valley Ranch. So it's a part of the effort that I'm familiar with from my time on the Castle Rock Council. I don't know that's the intent here, but when you talk about safety, I know that's one of the factors Castle Rock has learned from over the years.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll address the Renaissance Festival question real quick. The sheriff's office doesn't want that traffic in the neighborhood either, which is the main reason I got all the key players together at the end of last season, so we can alleviate that. That's the whole reason that we're meeting. Our plan is to, by the time that the Renaissance Festival opens this year, in a collaboration between the town of Larkspur, Douglas County Road and Bridge, Douglas County Sheriff's Office, as well as Jim Paradise, coming up with a comprehensive plan that will keep that traffic out of your neighborhood as much as possible, if not out, completely or drastically reduced. Is the overall goal.
Just really quick, the county section is not planned nor warranted to be widened based on our 2040 traffic projections nor our 2050 traffic projections. And I'll let Stephanie deal with that bike question.
Regarding the bikes, the frontage road is not designed or meant to encourage bikers, and we do not encourage it. There's no bike lanes. It's not safe. We look at improvements for what we need to do, and the new frontage road is being designed to accommodate that. CDOT has a very, very heavy focus, and we're working closely with Castle Rock on this for safety, ped, and bike improvements in the area, and as we go through design for the Crystal Valley interchange and what we can do in the future. And so that is what we're trying to focus on as best we can. Right now, we do not encourage bicycles on that frontage road at all.
Thank you, Stephanie. Roger, online.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's hear from a question that Andrew submitted. If the frontage road is being moved to the west side of the railroad tracks, does this mean there'll now be more room to add more lanes to I-25? Will more lanes be added to I-25 as a result of moving the frontage road?
There is no plan to add more lanes to I-25 right now.
Great. So with that, let's take a couple of online questions, Roger.
All right, let's hear next from Rich. Rich asked, I drive this road every day. I set my cruise control on 45 as posted. Drivers constantly pass me, even crossing double lines, and speed up as fast as they can to go. How do you plan to get this issue under control?
Well, that's going to go back to what I previously said, right? I need your help in reporting those vehicles. If you can get a plate of a vehicle that's doing that, call Star CSP. A trooper will follow up with that. We can't be everywhere at once. Our focus is on I-25. So when I have the troopers available, that's where they're going to be. If that call comes in while that's happening, we will respond and take action appropriately.
And as the sheriff with the joint operations that we're going to run with Colorado State Patrol, I want to emphasize when I took office, I told my deputy sheriffs, I don't care about quantity tickets. I care about quality tickets, and I expect our deputies out there doing speed enforcement.
All right, thank you, Sheriff. We're going to go ahead and take a couple more questions and comments online. Sir, I got you back there. Sir, I got you. But this gentleman is closest, and he gets to go next. Sir, tell us your name and where you're from.
My name's Tom Tarver. I live in Larkspur. And George, I want to thank you for doing what you're doing, and Sheriff, too, for moving so quick, and as well as CDOT for the rail systems. It's pretty personal to a lot of us with the death of those children. And I will say I drive that road every morning. And now that you pay attention to it, when you're into the barrier areas, people drive to the center lines, and it's inherently dangerous. As the guardrails are now gone, you watch people drive back to their normal patterns. So, you've got people passing with inches at 100 miles an hour. And the other 2 points are, number one is the 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. It's increasing driving situations. People are passing more frequently now. I see it every morning. At 55 back in the day, you didn't see many problems with that speed limit. So I just want to urge that maybe if we enforce a 55 and keep it safe, that's how it used to be 10 years ago, and relatively small problems with that. The 45 causes passing, and there's people aggravated trying to get to work. I'm speaking in reality. These people, when you're on the morning commute, they're going to go by you. At 55, you see less passing. So I wanted to address that. And then also the signs went back up to allow bicyclists on the road. That means when you're trapped there behind on a double yellow, you're seeing people try to get around the bikes. And so you're getting more driving situations. And I think it's increasing the dangerous situations on that road that we didn't have 10 years ago, and it's increasing. So I would urge, until the new road is built, if we can take the bikes off there for now, it's a small price to pay. I don't look like it. I was a biker back in the day. I used to ride my bike, but I was safe. I would never ride my bike on that road. And so those are my 3 points. And I want to thank everybody for their work on this. And George, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Appreciate the question and appreciate the comments. Stephanie, is there anything we could do? Because speak to the bikes for us, please.
So I'll look at the bikes, and with everything that you guys bring to my attention, we will take a look at it and look at the signage. So I will take a look at that. Speaking for the guardrail and the driver behavior, as well as the speed limit, there are a lot of design factors and criteria. So one piece, you lower the design speed limit, and that allows us to also take away some of the guardrails. So it's kind of, you have trade-offs with everything you do. And, speaking to Peter's question as well, we remove guardrail. We've had different evaluations, but we have trade-offs, unfortunately, that we have to evaluate from an engineering perspective. And if the guardrail and if the frontage road is higher elevation than I-25, I can't remove that guardrail and allow a car, if it does end up going into 25, it would go into 25 if the elevation's greater. So there's different trade-offs that we make, and I'm happy to address those with each situation. But again, you change one thing, you have to adjust another thing, and we have to make the smartest engineering decisions with that knowledge.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Just want to remind everybody who's joining us on the phone and online, if you would like to ask a question, make a statement, please press *3 on your phone pad now, and we'll get you into the queue and we'll get your question. And I have another question from here in the hearing room. Sir, can you give us your name and where you're from?
Sure. Tom Kirstein, Larkspur. Just recently moved to Larkspur just 3-4 months ago. For Stephanie, I thought I heard rumors that you're going to double line from Plum Creek to Tomah. Is that not true?
As of right now, I'm not completely sure where that came from, so I can look into it. But we weren't going to change anything right there, no.
Okay. Maybe everybody here understands this interchange, but could someone do a quick overview of how that interchange is going to work? I mean, can you go north and south no matter which way you're going on the frontage roads? Thanks.
Hey, thank you, sir. Aaron, I think that's one for you.
So yes, you'll have access to southbound and northbound I-25 if you're coming from the west or if you're coming from the east. The on and off ramps for southbound I-25 will be where the existing frontage road is now. So to be able to find room to get ramps, that's where we're closing down that existing frontage road. That's basically the main reason that that's being closed down at Yucca Hills and at Tomah, is to make room for those ramps. Then to get on northbound I-25, they'll have a ramp to get on. If you're traveling west, like coming from Crystal Valley, you'll have a direct ramp to get on northbound I-25. If you're coming from the west side and coming east across I-25, you'll have a loop ramp that swings around. So if there's drawings on the TVs, stuff like that, you'll see the loop road. So then that'll allow you to get access to northbound I-25. I think that answers the question.
All right, we got time for 2 more questions here in the room before we go back to the phones. Sir, come on, stand on up. Tell us your name and where you're from.
My name is Samuel Rodivanyuk. I actually live in Highlands Ranch, but travel often to Castle Rock. One of the questions I really had was, what kind of a road quality would we expect? Because I noticed in Colorado, which I'm a recent resident here, oftentimes a lot of roads will have potholes, or the type of road are outdated from like way back when they were first laid down. And sometimes you don't really get good friction whenever it rains. Sometimes you'll have not as good traction. So I'm wondering what kind of road condition would we be expecting? A new type of road or same kind of asphalt as we've been laying down for a while?
And just to make sure I understand, are you talking about when the new West Frontage Road is put in on the other side of the railroad tracks after the interchange, or in that interim with the frontage road that exists now?
Both, I would say. I mean, more so toward the new ones that we're putting out, but yeah, if you can answer the interim as well.
Okay. Aaron and Art, I think we turn to you guys to talk about what that road quality is going to be when you build that new road.
So the majority of the pavement will be asphalt, SMA asphalt. We do have the roundabout on the east side coming off of where the east frontage road will tie into Crystal Valley. The roundabout will be concrete pavement as well, because just better long-term maintenance on that. Then as far as quality and stuff, the town, I think if you drive around Castle Rock, you'll see that the roads are in pretty good shape in Castle Rock. Town has a very good maintenance program and stuff, and that will be applied to all the new streets associated and constructed with the interchange and stuff.
Just to add on that, Aaron mentioned SMA. It's a type of asphalt. It's more expensive, but it's more resistant to rutting. So we put that on the top mat. But underneath there, I think our pavement section is both 9 inches over 12 inches base course. So it'll be quite an investment. And then both of us have really outstanding maintenance programs. We always look to maintain our infrastructure as the highest priority. And during the construction, as Stephanie alluded to earlier, the contractor works closely as potholes develop, because heavier construction, the contractor will have responsibility for patching and milling. And even on the I-25 gap project, CDOT went to a really expensive investment along the joints, because as you move traffic around, you cross the joints during various phases. And they came up with a very successful mill and overlay for the joints that seem through the winter months to start to pop and form the potholes. So we're utilizing that on our US 85 project, and it works really well, as it did on I-25.
All right, sir. Tell us your name and where you're from.
Tim Wass, and we live right off of Territorial in Twin Oaks. My question for you is safety-minded. We've heard in previous meetings about a fire plan for forest fire and such, but you can tell from Renaissance Festival and other areas in Perry Park when the fire was behind it, what 8-10 years ago, there was a massive bottleneck, and it was a very big safety concern, especially through the construction phase, but even more so after that. Is there a plan in place, and do you guys, in practical application from what you see day to day being out there, do you see a plan that you're going to put together, or is there something that the residents will have so we'll have an idea of which way to go?
Wow, that's a super one. Chief, because I know it's Twin Oaks that is in the Castle Rock Fire Protection District. You want to start that up, and then we'll let you toss it back over to the Sheriff's Department to talk the big picture.
Sure. So understanding the difference, the town of Castle Rock has 34 square miles, and then the Castle Rock Fire Protection District is 32 square miles. Twin Oaks, Yucca Hills, that portion of the West Frontage Road is in the Fire Protection District. As a result of that, we work closely with Douglas County OEM on all wildland fire issues, hazardous materials issues along the railroad tracks, et cetera. The challenge that we have right now is it's still the same. I mean, we've had that same access into Twin Oaks since some of you know, since Joe Shum, who was the previous fire chief, lived out there. That hasn't changed. But part of that goes back to, we also understand that you have the ability to get out back through Peak View, and we can go north and south. With the construction of the interchange, it's actually going to improve our ability to not only get in, but to potentially get residents out if needed, because we will be able to move more folks, cars, vehicles, capacity through those roadways. In the interim, during construction, we've been very clear with town staff and the developer that we understand the challenges associated with heavy equipment moving in and out. We have said that until the interchange is done, the only thing that can go vertical is Costco. And we don't want all the other traffic associated with vertical construction in there, unless there's other changes that are made, and the developer is certainly aware of that. But we're doing the best that we can to try and limit the access and the number of vehicles that are going in there, understanding the challenges associated with that.
Thank you, Chief. I understand that we have both online and phone questions. Roger?
We do. Let's hear first from Wayne on the phone. Wayne, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Wayne, 23-year Perry Park resident. I was evacuated, our entire family was evacuated during the Hayman, as a previous gentleman kind of alluded to. So I've experienced seriously dangerous congestion, you know, with a traffic profile and residential density from 20 years ago. So as the numbers of residents have exploded, obviously a lot of concern with helping residents in an emergency situation. So from a safety aspect, you know, a few suggestions. Rather than ticket and, you know, harass residents continually through all of this, why not guide and direct them? And this is based upon the current I-25 southbound Larkspur exit, where there is no signage to indicate to not, let's just say, do a U-turn right at the exit itself, right? So twice this winter already, I've nearly T-boned Douglas County snowplow. I've had to, you know, hammer the brakes to avoid running into Harley drivers, to trucks turning into that now locked and gated area to the left on the exit. And based upon that, you know, it's the off-ramp is very blind, very dangerous. Obviously, people require some sort of guidance or assistance. And so as this monstrous construction project continues, and then it's going to go for another, you know, several years here. So you could say 10 years from now, I'm going to have lived through all this. What are we doing to help people, right? And when I say help this, I've lived in major metropolitan centers around North America, and I think that we could do a better job collectively in helping guide and direct folks to avoid accident areas, to, you know, be aware that it's a blind hill, remind them to obey the law, you know, remind them to stay within their lane, etc.
Either Stephanie or Art, do you have any comments?
I think I'm in shock still. You're saying that people that are going southbound I-25 and exiting Larkspur are making a U-turn? That seems really difficult, and I'm sure that we can look at some signage issues if it's within CDOT's right of way or the town of Larkspur. We work closely to help support them on those issues. But
You know, I don't have a lot to say other than I'm making notes to that, and we will definitely continue to take a look at these, and I welcome feedback. That's what we do. We continue to look and make things better.
And then just during the construction of Crystal Valley, we'll definitely have variable message signs when any closures occur at night, and we're asking people to use alternate routes for various construction phases.
Thank you, Stephanie and Art. Roger, there's another online question.
We do. Let's hear the question Sam submitted. What is the proposed timeline for frontage road construction and interchange and new Dawson Road?
Stephanie, is that you?
I'll go ahead and take it, but it's for Aaron and both of mine. Just as I think we stated earlier, the town segment, which is from Territorial Road to the southern town limits, should begin construction this summer and take about 12 months. And the county section, which is just north of Tomah Road to the town limits, which is a little over a mile, will begin in the fall and also take about 12 months.
Thank you, Art. Roger, did you have another question?
I do. Jim submitted, what capability does the county and or other government agencies have to ensure the new Dawson Trails Road and interchange infrastructure is usable before, in capital letters, new housing and associated development starts to create additional traffic?
Aaron, is that you?
So let's see, will the interchange and Dawson Trails be in place prior to development being built and stuff, the new residentials and Dawson Trails? I think that was the question. So yeah, we have to have the Dawson Trails, the county's portion and the town portion from CVI down to Tomah Road in place, and the bridge at least over I-25 and the BNS in place prior to closing the West Frontage Road. And then also there's a limit in the development agreement for how many houses the development can build prior to building or having that access in place and stuff to where they can cross, vehicles can cross over I-25 at Crystal Valley.
So Aaron, thank you for that. And you know, it's such a priority for the county commissioners, and I know all of the experts on the panel, to ensure that those who took the time to be here with us in person get their questions answered. So with a little extra time, just going to go out to the gallery here and see if anybody, yes ma'am. Boy, so we got a lot of folks have questions. I'll hang on to this and you can speak right into it. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Jody Alberghetti, formerly of Keene Ranch. And until...
Sorry.
Formerly of Keene Ranch.
We'll try one more time.
Is it on now?
There we go.
There, I hear myself.
That was my bad, not yours.
I'm Jody Alberghetti, formerly of Keene Ranch, until I was a head-on collision on the frontage road. I appreciate seeing that there's changes coming. It's taken way too long. My two questions is, what are you going to do to maintain the safety on the frontage road during all of this construction? Because besides moving the guardrails, I haven't heard any other changes. My other thing is, on the new roads you're building, have you considered putting in the rumble strips or a center median to help alert drivers when they cross the double yellow line, whether it's on purpose or not?
And thank you for that question. I'm sorry for everything you've been through. Art?
I'm going to talk about the county section. So we'll have a 12 to 14 wide median separating the southbound lanes from the northbound lanes. And then beyond that, there's 4 to 5 foot shoulders paved. So it'll be a much wider section, and that will remain up. And then Aaron's alluded to that he's got eventually a 4-lane section, which has a raised median for that section that's going to be built in the town section. As far as the construction, we did lower the frontage road to 40 miles an hour during the South Gap construction project, South I-25 Gap project. So that might be one measure. People can look at their trip and decide if it makes more sense to go to Skyview than to drive north, and we'll have to make those choices.
Thanks, Art. I'm being told we have time for 2 more questions unless, did CDOT want to respond as well?
I just wanted to comment that we did add rumble strips to the current frontage road. So we did that as a safety measure. Again, I can't, hopefully those do some deterrence, as well as we're evaluating options. If we have to close the frontage road at times, closing it is the safest thing if necessary. So we'll continue to look at it. And I know I say that a lot, but it is a process. And I don't want you to think that we've done one thing and we're walking away, because that's absolutely not what we're doing.
Okay, thank you, panel. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I wanted to bring up the fact that this is a project that's covering many jurisdictions and many agencies involved. It's also being done in preparation for future development, along with current safety issues. But thinking about that current development and thinking about the related costs of this project, I'd like to know how are those costs going to be allocated to any future developers, and the Costco, the housing tracts that will be coming in. How is that going to be allocated, not just put on all of the current residents, but the ones that are going to be benefiting the most from the road?
Thank you for that question.
No, I appreciate the question. The allocation, the biggest chunk is going to go to Dawson Trails. They are paying for $50 million of the $120 million project. Besides that, we have got a lot of buy-in from our partners from Douglas County, the town of Castle Rock. The federal government has also kicked in money as well. And we're still trying to get some more grants and funding opportunities for it. But the Dawson Trails is putting in the most money for the interchange. And then Castle Rock and Douglas County is a big contributor as well. And DOT and everybody else is helping out. And it's been a really good collaboration. I think that I can sense a frustration. I have the same frustration sometimes because there is 3 different jurisdictions working on this project, and that happens not only on this frontage road and on the interchange, but it happens all over Douglas County and Castle Rock, where there's several different roads that are DOT or they're under Douglas County's rule or Castle Rock's rule, and we all try to make sure we talk to each other and collaborate, and hopefully we're not dropping the ball too often on that. So thank you.
Thank you,
And
Mayor.
I'd like to add my gripe in on that as well, just because it was my neighborhood that put in about $8 million from the impact fees of my house being built, as well as my neighbor's houses being built, with, I think, the very clear, actually, I'll tell you, the very clear expectation as a guy who lives there right now, that that money would have gone to this project. And I think we did an analysis back when I was on the Castle Rock Council that a substantial part of it did. But then there was also $4 million from the Crystal Crossing neighborhood impact fees on those homes that also went in. And then we've had the county, at the county level, the county's had a lot of investment to buy up right-of-way, even going back 20 years, in order to set the stage for this project to finally come to term. So this has been the Dawson Ridge neighborhood was first zoned by the town of Castle Rock in 1983. I don't know about anybody else, but I was a sophomore in high school at Greeley Central High in 1983.
And I see the amazing Art winding up, but we're being told we got to wrap up with one last question. Young lady.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Alexander, and I live in Keene Ranch. 3 things. First of all, I'd like to recognize Representative Lisa Frizzell for coming down here after she spent a long day at the Capitol. So we're glad you're here too. It's your district. Second, I think the gentleman down there made a huge good point. I want to emphasize that people, when you go 45 miles an hour, people will pass you. So if you put that speed limit at 55, it will be much more of a consistent traffic. I don't think it's safe to have it 45 because people will pass, and that's just not safe. The third thing is, CDOT, you need to look at your maintenance. I'm hearing that from everybody here. It is terrible right now. The center of the lane, the center of the road is splitting. I don't know if that's because of your rumble strips or if it's just where the seam is in the pavement. If you ride a motorcycle and you have to go around a bicycle, you hit that trap of and I don't ride a motorcycle, but he does. But you'll hit that gutter, that crevasse in the middle of the road, and that is terrible. The sides of the road are crumbling off. I hope you're going to come in and grade the edges of the road, bring in some more material and grade it, because right now it's a huge drop off. So your maintenance right now is not acceptable.
Kelsey, thank you for that. It's not too late to get a motorcycle and start riding out there. We're going to wrap up. I'll turn it to Commissioner Teal.
Well, thank you so much, Abe. Well, first and foremost, I would like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Thank you to everyone who joined us on the phone. But I really want to acknowledge a couple of people who really, quite frankly, helped this evening come together. Tom Tarver, thank you very much. You brought up the idea of doing a meeting like this. You and a couple of your neighbors. You're the one that told me, though, and thank you for spreading the word. Leslie Fritz, I don't see Leslie in the room, but Leslie Fritz, wherever you are, thank you also for helping to spread the word and let people know. And, folks, the reality is I think we were all brought together by the tragedy of the 3 deaths that we've seen in the last 6 months on this stretch of road. I really want to say thank you to CDOT for coming tonight and taking some of these pretty tough, pointy questions and letting us know, all the good stuff that you guys are working on to help make this piece of road even safer. And so that's all I've got to say. Thank you all for coming. Abe, back to you.
Commissioner Teal, thank you for that. I'm being told we're over time, so I'll just quickly thank the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, the Town of Castle Rock, the Colorado State Patrol, Castle Rock Fire and Rescue, and CDOT. Listen, we're here because we work for you, not the other way around. I hope to see you at the 68th Live Town Hall. Sheriff?
I just want to say, I want to thank our public safety partners. We're very blessed in Douglas County because whether you're talking police, fire, the state patrol, one of my first contacts was with Captain Carr. He just said, what can I do? How can I help? And so from that perspective, we're blessed. You can remain confident that we're going to do everything that we can for public safety to keep that road safe. There will be enforcement on the road. And we're going to do everything we can for the residents. Mayor Gray.
And on behalf of the town of Castle Rock and everybody here, thanks for everyone coming out. A lot of great questions. I know there's a lot of issues out there that haven't been resolved, but we are trying, I promise you. Especially, we have all 3 groups here, DOT, Douglas County, and Castle Rock. And even though sometimes we don't overlap the way we want to, we do communicate really well. I appreciate it. Commissioner Thomas?
Thank you, Mayor. I am going to ask Representative Lisa Frizzell to just stand up so everyone can recognize who represents you as the Castle Rock District. So Lisa, please stand up. Lisa served for many years as the assessor and in the assessor's office, and she is working on figuring out how we're going to figure out the property tax situation. So Lisa's going to be our savior, we hope. Your savior when it comes to your property taxes for next year. Let me just thank all of you for being here. And what I heard from every question is that we are all going to have to be very patient for the next 3 years if that's what it's going to take to get this project done. Because if we're patient, we're not going to be passing on the 45 road, the speed limit. We're going to be safer that way. So just take that deep breath and get through it more safely. I'd like to thank all our partners here in Douglas County. We know the value of partnership. And I think we demonstrate that up here right now with all the different partners sitting here together to get this project done safely for all of us. Good night, everybody, and God bless.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. On behalf of Douglas County, thank you for joining us this evening. As a reminder, you can always provide feedback online at douglas.co.us/town hall. If we didn't get to your question tonight, we invite you to submit those questions anytime, and we hope you'll join us for future telephone town halls. Good night.